Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 65 featuring the Honeywell AC, which I'm sure we're going to get comments about a lot today. It's our sponsor for today. It's Honeywell. No, they're actually not sponsoring us. But it will be in the mic. It's either that or I just die. I'll literally just die. So I'll go with living this time around with the AC, but I'll try to play Moot Toggle as much as possible. Anyways, the show should look much better. We're streaming at 1080p 60 now at a high bit rate, and Adam's sending us 4K, and Zeke's not sending us 4K because we couldn't get it to work, but, you know, we're getting there. Every week, it's a small visual improvement, and we're going to play Guess the Castmate with a higher bitrate camera.
Yeah, and I got to blow your guys' ears out, so that's nice.
It was fun. You put on a little set for us. Yeah, DJ Zeke played a nice little set before the stream. And then there's also the confusing factor of Max is the only person that can send us 60 FPS.
Check out my motion. Does it look smooth? Everyone else tried to do this. You can't. Fuck you.
I don't care how many frames you got, Max. Nothing about you is smooth, dude. Sorry.
Whoa. Whoa. Ouch.
Ooh.
Listen, I got a beef with Max because he got the fucking Wii menu select music stuck in my head and I can't get it out now. So
before stream, I implanted
we got
that.
problems.
Wait, which one? Sing it. We need riff. Come on, let's go.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
The Wii music or the Switch music?
The Me creator music, I think. The Me theme.
Oh,
I shared a video in the chat. It's that theme, but every time the thing goes dun dun dun, it boosts the bass. So eventually it's like dude, like it's like stupid loud, and everything gets distorted like exponentially. It's great.
Nice.
You know,
Nice.
I'm productive before the show. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I don't know. What can you tell me, Max? What have you been up to? Tell me what you've been up to. That's what you can tell me.
What the fuck? Oh, I've been playing Subnautica again. Got back into that. Finally got the Cyclops built. That thing's hard to drive. It's a little. It's like it's not hard to drive. It's just, you know, it's a shift from the Seamoth. You used to being like agile and like being able to do whatever the fuck you want. Like that thing handles like a dream. But the Cyclops is a goddamn bus. But yeah, I got back into that game.
You got to treat the Cyclops as just like a battering ram sometimes, and then if it hits something, you just got to repair it real quick.
Yeah, you got to repair it.
Yeah.
I think because I just got it, like, I'm a little overly cautious. I'm like, don't hurt the baby that I just made, you know?
Yeah.
But you can just go out and repair it real quick.
The most important thing is, what did you name the Cyclops? What is the name of your ship? The USS what?
It's called the Normandy SR2. Surprise, surprise.
Nerd.
What?
You dork. Nerd.
Jesus.
Every ship or anything that I name, like my computer is called r.yakshi, which is for those who do not know, the Asari genetic disorder where they have to like basically suck this. You guys want me to talk about more stuff?
Max, how does it feel that your favorite game series is probably dead? Let's talk
really
about that for a
depressing,
second.
We got a solid 3 games that we can go back and play over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's what I say to you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But I played that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. More basketball. I'm playing more basketball.
I saw your tweets playing some basketball. Yeah. I didn't watch the full. I'm not going to watch a minute of you just bouncing a ball and shooting.
That's okay.
But do you do anything special in that minute long? Do you like? Is there some R. Kelly? Did you put some R. Kelly there?
Shots in there.
No, just some shoots.
No.
Why
It
don't
was
you
mainly just like, what?
sync it up to R. Kelly and then do like some slow-mo stuff of you just failing, and it'd be hilarious.
How about this? How about the next one I do, I'll do one slow-mo shot just for you. And I'm going to slow it down. It'll be, I believe I can fly. It's just like that for you.
Yes.
I'll give you a little wink as I do it, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you miss the net completely and you fall and twist your ankle. It's all in slow mo. Yep.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
That'd be good. Exactly.
Yep. Trip to the hospital in the back of an ambulance.
The analytics on that are going to be huge. They're going to be so good compared to the other basketball clips. I promise you, Max. So Subnautica, basketball. Everyone gets 3 things that they've done. That's what you bring to the table here.
I played, what the fuck is the name of it? Deep Rock Galactic. You guys tried that or seen that at all?
What is it?
Deep Rock Galactic. Basically, it's space dwarves that go to the center of, like, dig down to the center of planets to, I think it's the same planet, I don't know, but the different parts of it in varying depths to do what dwarves do, which is mine. And there's like crazy fucking, like, you know, Starship Trooper looking kind of insectoid spider creatures, and like, yeah, so you're fighting off the inhabitants of like the core of this planet while you're trying to mine shit to upgrade your stuff, and it's really cool. It's 4-player co-op. Super cool. Really smooth, procedurally generated shit. And yeah, it's dope. Really cool.
Nice. Yeah, I had not heard of that. Is that early access? Where is that at?
I believe it's early access. Yeah, they might have just gone. I think they just went into early access. When I played it, it was like just on the eve of going into early access, but really fun game, especially if you get a good group of people together. You guys want to play it? Let me know. It's fun.
All right, I might. I'm in PoE hell right now, where it's like I'm still. Am I gonna make 1,000 hours? Is this the league where it eclipses 1,000 hours, or will I just step away? Will I just walk away from the game? Just like Michael Jordan. Yeah, Dan got his mirror, so he should just MJ that shit and just walk away from the game. Just walk away. Yeah. There's nothing else that you need to do.
What else can I find? You know.
What else? What else could you possibly want? You got the best item in the game.
Man, the news of that spread so far, I even heard about it.
Dude, you should have seen my chat when it happened. It was obnoxious.
Oh, I saw the clip just now.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was
what
hilarious.
happened?
Dan got an item that drops in Path of Exile called the Mirror of something or other. It's just called Mirror. I think it's Kalandra or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like a 30,000 hour per drop item. So like 30,000 hours of game time is the usual drop for that. And he got it with, I don't know how many hours, Dan, probably like 400 or something like that in the game.
Yeah. I got it low level too. Like just
basically
random. Yeah, rare side in the game drops on a low level creature as I'm leveling, just randomly.
It's nice. But yeah, when it dropped, my chat just exploded. And I think I went back and looked at the analytics, like even the viewer count shot up because everyone like splintered off from Dan's stream and like took over Twitch for about 30 seconds. Jesus. Just like, Dan got a mirror, Dan got a mirror, Dan got a mirror.
Right. It's like that. It's the fucking American Revolution moment. Everybody gets on their horses. They're like, the British are coming. The British are coming. Like riding out to tell all of Twitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. Woof.
It was good. And then, you know, it died down. I was hoping you were going to delete it, though, Dan, but you haven't done it yet.
Yeah, just like, I may never see another one, so I'm like, maybe I should hold on to this one.
Yeah.
Exalts are, exalts aren't that rare. You get them every once in a while, but the mirror, I might never see a mirror ever again in any playthrough, so.
Thanks.
Like, might as well hold on to it and just look at it in standard once in a while, like, there she is.
Well, if you go to standard, you can get like the like perfect rares and actually use the item. The stupid thing about a mirror is if you do a mirror service in that game, you use the mirror and then also pay the person like 10 or 20 exalts depending on the item. So it costs you even more than the cost of the fucking mirror to begin with. So
Yep.
It's stupid. the fucking currency in that game is dumb, but yeah, I don't know how we got on the topic of the mirror.
I'm looking at the clip right now of just everyone going, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah.
It was chat was so slow until that moment, and then all of a sudden it exploded.
Yeah.
What does it do?
It just makes an exact copy of an item. That's all it does. And it's the rarest drop in the game. That's why it's worth so much. If it was common, like
thing?
Yeah.
Once you use it, it's gone. That's how the currency works in the game. Is it's not like there's no like money. There's like consumable objects that people trade for things. That's the currency in the game, is these consumable things. That's the most expensive one.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
The idea that an item's value is based totally independently on its use is actually really super interesting.
Oh, dude.
And the fact that it's an artificially created scarcity, right? Like they chose the number of hours, they chose the rarity of this thing, and the fact that it does nothing, and it's only not nothing, but like the fact that its rarity is the only reason why it's so valuable. It's just so fascinating. I love it.
The currency
like the
system,
economy of these situations is crazy.
The currency of Path of Exile is probably one of the most interesting parts of it. And like when a league resets, the entire everyone goes back to zero. So the economy just resets. And so then the first
Like
week
the end
is
of Fight Club.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that. They stand on top of tower and they just set off a bomb on all the servers. They're like, fuck, this game's so expensive.
Right,
Every 3 months we
Path
just
of
have to
Exile. It's just like
buy a new
Path
server
of Exile.
farm.
It's just like Fight Club. You get your face punched in for 2 straight hours, and then you try to kill yourself, and it doesn't work, and then the world goes to shit, and you start over.
Yeah. So it's the best.
I was watching the Toys That Made Us last night,
Oh, nice.
and you sound like the rocket firing Boba Fett. That's what that sounds like. Like the thing that is so impossible to find, but you find one of them, and it's this little tiny thing, but it's worth like $20,000.
It's nuts.
I didn't finish the Star Wars. The Star Wars is the first episode, right, Zeke?
Yeah.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I skipped that episode and I watched the Barbie one first. I think it's because Aaron had already watched the first episode, or subconsciously, it just we're saying something about me here that I'm into Barbies more than Star Wars. I don't know. I don't know what it's saying.
I wouldn't judge you. Whatever, man.
And that's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. No, it's great. It's great. The best part about did you watch the Barbie episode, Zeke?
Oh yeah.
Did you see the chair in that woman's office?
I did with a
What
weird
the
like
fuck
lady
is that chair?
molded into it.
It's like a
know.
naked woman that's like melted plastic.
It's fucking Art Deco, man. It's dumb. I mean, it's form over function.
It's
Was
real
she like
weird.
a CEO from like Barbie or something?
Yeah, she
was a former CEO of Barbie of Mattel.
Yeah.
He's a Mattel overlord, and of course, she's probably got a torture room in her office too. It's just
It was
they didn't show
weird.
it. You know what I mean, like,
It's just a chair of this like melted woman.
I've got an image here if people want to. I'm going to post it in chat.
Oh, did you find it?
I found it, yeah.
All
Her
confirmed.
name is Jill Barad.
Wait,
and
that's an
her-
actual person
her
in the chair? Or are you saying she owns
No,
the chair?
no, the CEO at Mattel. Her name is Jill Barad.
person in the chair is Jill
I
Barrett.
found it
She's
because
working for the company.
Metafilter had a. Here, let me post it here. There you go. Metafilter had a post where someone says like, "WTF this chair? What is the deal?" And then it's just people.
Yeah, that's
apparently
the
it's
chair.
a Frank. It's a Frank Gallo chair that called "Girl in a Sling" chair. He made 3 of them. One of them is in the Playboy Mansion. One of them is in the MOMA, and then there's this one apparently. Cool.
It's fucking
Expensive
weird.
ass chairs.
It's a weird ass chair, man.
It's interesting that it's in a show about like scarce collectible objects, and it's a 1 in 3 like art chair. Like that's pretty meta that's in the background of that shot. I like that a lot.
I just
It's
the
pretty
first
cool.
like how did they not ask that person about it? How does it just
Yeah.
Like, I love chat's comment. Do catastrophe says yes, and 1 is in hell. Yeah,
yeah.
you got to make the extra one for the devil.
Yeah, Jesus. I went through that entire episode just screaming at the TV like, "Why are you not talking about the chair? It's the most eye-drawing thing in this entire shot, in this entire fucking episode."
I mean, it's not a chair, right? It's a sculpture, but that's very weird and super distracting. Like whoever the DOP for this shot had to have put that in the shot on purpose.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Because
100%.
otherwise,
Perfectly
like, there's
framed,
no
so
way
it's
this is a
there.
mistake.
yeah.
Unless Jill Barad is like, "Yo, you got to get my expensive chair in the shot, or I'm not doing
That's
it."
what I was thinking. I was thinking Jill was like,
Everybody
we
gotta
gotta get
know.
the lady in the sling chair back there because there's only 3 of them, and I want to show people I have it.
That might be true.
Yeah.
That might be true. Well, anyways, that was
Because
weird.
2 people in the world went, wait a minute, is that a? Oh,
Right.
Everyone else was like, "What the fuck? There's a melted lady in her office."
Is that like, you know how fucked up that would be if like those chairs were like they actually were people that were just
Yeah,
preserved?
it'd be real fucked up. That's called murder. She would go to jail.
No, I know that. Well, she just bought the chair. All right.
Who wants to
Murder
see that every
made by
day?
Her
I
was
don't.
made by the artist.
I agree, Dan. Who does want to walk into their office and just be like, that chair's real good.
Yeah, I'd go
know,
to a
there's a
museum
bit
and be like, look at it, but have seen it every day? No. Mm-mm.
Maybe there's a little bit of Schadenfreude there. Maybe she like walks in her office and she's like, "No matter how bad I'm feeling, I still look better than that chair. At least I'm not as like hideous and fucked up as that chair. I'm doing okay. You're doing okay, CEO of Mattel. You're gonna be all right."
Do you think she puts any? Is that like where she puts all of her coats when she walks in the room, or does she cover it ever?
Welcome to my office. Just put your coat anywhere, like on the super expensive one of 3 sculpture.
Yeah.
Just throw it on the
Yeah.
old lady skin over there.
Imagine being the person that's job is to like dust that or like to clean the office. Like, I'd just be.
There's
weirded
too much
out.
dust in the tits. Make sure you get the
I was
tits.
gonna say, make sure you get
dust around her sadness.
It all rests in there. It collects.
So here's
No,
what
that
I'm
was-
gonna
that
do
was
for my
actually-
next.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, here's what I'm gonna do for my next stream. I'm gonna take a picture of my room. I'm gonna Photoshop that chair into it, and I'm gonna put the green screen up, and we'll just throw that chair in the background for the next.
Yeah, you should.
I feel like,
Like,
too,
it's cool. I got one.
Yeah.
as a DM, Adam's somewhere in the back of his mind logging that away. Like, make a chair that a character has, a preserved person that is shrunk.
So I talk about this a lot when I go back and look through old GM notes, where I will have notes that don't make any sense out of context. Like it'll just say like blue sweater ? I'm gonna go back in like 8 or 9 months and be like, why do I have the phrase woman skin on chair written down in my notebook? Why is that here? I don't understand.
No, I think that was the second choice for the It movie. It was that chair or the painting, and they chose the painting, but it could have been either.
Yeah, that's true. It's a fucked up chair. I'm glad I finally, because no one ever brought that up. They're like, what chair are you talking about? But no, I knew Zeke would have seen that shit and just been like, what in the actual fuck? So,
Oh yeah.
Zeke, what have you been up to the past week or 2 weeks? I guess we haven't had a show. Court of Swords the past 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. What have I been up to? I've been playing like lots of different games. I went back and played Bayonetta again, and it plays as well as I remember, but it's the graphics, man. I couldn't get them to work on the PC without screen tear for some reason, so I had to play it on the docked Switch, and it's only 720, and it's just not good. But the music, the gameplay, like everything else was just fucking fantastic. It was just like looking at it was kind of a blurry mess. But I played that. I went back and played that because I want to play Bayonetta 2. But before I went back and played Bayonetta or pick up Bayonetta 2 for the first time, a couple of games caught my attention. One being Where the Water Tastes Like Wine, which is a newer.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Which is a newer indie game. Very, very, very well done. Like all the pieces of it fit together so well. It's not. There's almost no gameplay, like as far as like jumping and anything like that. It's all just story based. The gist of it is you are tasked to tell and spread stories throughout the United States of America in the Dust Bowl era ish. It takes some liberties with time period, but mostly it's like 30s and 40s, and you wander around America and you tell stories and listen to stories and stuff like that. And it's really, really well done. The music is fucking fantastic. The voice acting is top notch. Everything about it is really good. If you like storytelling and you like hearing and telling stories and that kind of thing, there's no fights or enemies or anything like that. It's just like the basic gist of the story is what I told you, and it's just really great.
Huh.
And then yesterday I finally picked up Into the Breach.
Yeah, fucking sweet.
And
you
that
into
fucking
it?
game, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it make you rage a lot?
Not really.
Okay.
It doesn't make me rage.
I found the RNG to be the inverse, right? Where like you're fucked, and then something will happen, and you're like, "Yes, the shields! I didn't die." Like, I've played a lot of FTL and never really like clicked with it. Like I keep trying. I go back to it, and I'm like, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna play through it.
neither.
But I can't get it to. I couldn't hook on. But something about Into the Breach, like I love it. Every time I've played it, time has just flown by.
Might have to check that out.
The thing that makes me rage is the chat. I mean, honestly, I'll be honest, like streaming
no.
the game.
Never mind.
Just because I try not to look until my turn is over, until I've decided what I'm going to do with all of my guys, and then I'll look at chat, and then I'll see things in chat like, you could do, you didn't have to defeat me. And I'm just like, you motherfuckers, you goddamn, I'll find you, and I will punch your face off.
Yeah, no, I can't play that type of game.
Yeah.
If chat's just going to be completely like persistent, just
The
backseating,
best,
I can't do it.
the only way that I think I could play those games is if I'm playing like the week it's out before someone else has figured
before
it out
anything's
on
known.
Twitch and chat has watched that person. There's like a little bit of a grace period for the crazy backseating. But if after like a week you're just fucked. Like you're just gonna get told how much of an idiot. It was so funny. After I stopped streaming for like a week, and in like the first 10 seconds that I was literally on camera, 5 or 10 people are just like, "Hey, did you know you're balding?" And I'm just like, "Come on, guys!
Whoa.
Jesus, come on! It's been 5 seconds."
There's an arc to like coming back to streaming if you've been away for a little while, where like you haven't streamed, you're like, man, I miss streaming. I want to get back in the chair, play some games, hang out with chat. It's gonna be great.
I was
the first
that
like hour or
person.
so, you're like, yeah, you're like, yeah, this is great. We're having fun, and then someone's just like, I hate your face and everything that you say is stupid. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
never mind. Fuck.
Yeah.
People say stuff they would never say to you to your face in real life. They
Yes.
say it to you in chat.
It took 5
You're getting
seconds.
kind of fat.
And then in the next minute, I was laying like this in my chair, and someone was like, "Hey, you should sit up, or you're gonna have back problems later in life." And I'm just like, "What? Come, just let me live for 5 seconds and not be judged on this fucking stream." So, yeah, it was good. It was good. Well, cool. I'm interested to hear about those games tomorrow on Drop
Yep.
Games. I have a lot of questions about them. Adam, what have you been up to? We've been working on some stuff kind of behind the scenes, but you've been playing some games, I think.
Yeah. I've been having several redacted Slack conversations with you about things. Ramping up for the new Stars Without Numbers show, making lots of notes. But yeah, I just got back from Emerald City Comic Con, which was cool. I'm not a big like comics guy, and I only went for 1 day, but it's pretty cool. It's weird being in a space that I'm so used to being there for PAX, because it's in Seattle. It's in the same PAX West like facility. So it's weird going in there and being like, well, it's full of nerds, but these are like comics nerds. Like it's a slightly different. Like I'm seeing all this cosplay. I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what that is. Why are you doing that? What's happening here? I recognize some of this stuff, but like it's like being in a slight alternate universe. But it was fun. I got to walk around, buy some comics, take pictures of stuff. It was good. It was nice being at a con and not doing any work stuff. Just kind of being like, hey, neat, comics.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is, but that looks cool. So yeah, I just got back from that, and I've been playing Into the Breach, which I am so all about. It's interesting playing a game that, looking at it, you're like, okay, this is the Steam version of the game, but there's gonna be like a Switch version and an iPad version, and like it's gonna come out on other things. And I find myself wanting it in those other formats. Like I was like, man, I could totally go for just like playing a run of this, but I don't want to like go into the other room and turn on my computer and like boot up the game. I'm like, nah, fuck it. But eventually it'll come out on that, and then I'll just get all hype about it again. But yeah, I've mostly just been playing that and doing D&D prep.
Yeah.
It's been good, yeah.
That's good. That's good. I've had this weird thing this week. Now that I have a house that it's not fully separated yet, but it will be once I go down to the basement, where I just walk out of this streaming room and shut the door, and I don't return until the next morning. And I'll just go like watch TV in another room and sit on that fucking couch. I'm just kind of like, I haven't done this.
Yeah, I
This is
don't
kinda
know
nice.
how everybody else's like house is laid out, but if my like office wasn't a separate room, I'd probably go a little crazy. Like I would.
That's how I
having to
lived
look
for the
at my
past 4
desk
years, 5
and
years.
yeah, I know. Yeah, like your stuff was like the middle of your house.
Yeah.
It's nice to just be able to be like closing the door, not doing like this work anyway, because we're working basically all the time.
Alternatively,
being able
though,
at least to step away.
it's really scary because I'll sit down and I can feel myself slowly sinking back into that, like, let's see what's on TV, and just feel that brain just start melting away. Like I could just feel it going to the mush as I fucking watch The Voice, and I'm like, come on, Kelly Clarkson, what the fuck are you doing? All right, obviously this guy's a good singer. What the hell? Why are you doing that, Kelly? Yeah.
It's the Harrison Bergeron thing. You can just feel yourself getting like smushed down to the lowest common denominator until you're just like, yes, TV good.
Yeah.
Drool.
Yeah. It's pretty bad. But I've caught up with Top Chef this season. It's fantastic. The finale is this week. Legion starts this week. Another amazing show, season 2. It's going to be great.
I finally watched American Vandal.
Is that any good?
This last week.
It was.
I thought it was going to be really dumb. But Wheat suggested it to me ages ago. He was like, Adam, you're going to really like this. And I was like, whatever, Wheat. You've suggested terrible things to me before.
Wheat's the one that tried to push it on me too. And I was like, shut the fuck up, Wheat.
But
all right.
I got around to it, and I was like, all right, I'll give this a watch. And I find that I watch shows now while I'm either eating dinner or cooking dinner. So it gives me about an hour to watch an episode of a thing. So I'll start it while I start dinner, and then I'll finish it when I eat it, and then I'm done. So I've actually been able to find time to watch TV. And yeah, it's like if you liked like Serial or like any kind of like investigative like thing, it's a bit of a mockumentary version of that, because it's basically about this kid in high school who gets accused of drawing 27 dicks on his teacher's cars, and this other kid, Pete, who is doing a documentary about him. And it's like investigative, and it has all the exact same kind of twists and turns that a show like that would if it was about a real thing, but it's all fictional. And I think Wheat likes it. I think Wheat likes it because it talks about Twitch. Twitch is like in it.
Oh, well, what the fuck? I'm not even going to ever watch that now.
They lie about it, but they tell untruths about what Twitch is, but it's still there.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? It kind of reminds me of a lighter-hearted, if you've seen the movie Brick.
I've heard of it. I've never watched it.
It's basically like this hard-hitting detective drama, like Real Detective on HBO.
Oh, okay,
but it's all high school students, but they're all like acted like they're adults, and they take this case like adults would, and it's really well done, really well acted, kind of like American Vandal is like a real mockumentary, like with kids. It's great.
Huh?
Yeah.
I watched that.
Yeah. The thing that was unbelievable about it was I was like, I know how expensive that camera is. Where the fuck that kid get the money for that camera? There's no way. Like, also the audio quality is way too good for the equipment they're using. But other than that, it was pretty good. I think it's supposed to be like, did you watch Making a Murderer? Or like,
no, that shit's too real for me.
Netflix is.
I can't watch that stuff. This is like too real.
Yeah, this is the lighthearted version of that, where it's just about who drew the dicks, and it's pretty funny. I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
All right, maybe. I'm now. I watched all of Queer Eye on Netflix in like one go last weekend in the hotel. I was just like, let's find something to binge, and then like 3 episodes into Queer Eye, I'm just like, this show's so good. Oh my god! And I need some more fucking chocolate. It was a great / bad horrible weekend, but it was great at the same time. And now Aaron's not seen it, so I'm rewatching Queer Eye. I'm just like, oh yeah, I missed this part. This show's pretty good. Pretty good show. So that's what I've been watching on Netflix is the Queer Eye. Dan, what about you? Besides Finding a Mirror and Path of Exile, what have you been up to?
I played the game 999 for the first time. It was originally on the DS. It's sort of it's a game where there's a group of 9 characters locked in a ship by a crazy person, and they all have to solve puzzles to get out. And it's a trilogy of games, and it's actually really good, and it's fully voiced on the PC version now.
Huh? Did they release all of them or just first one?
Yeah, it's called the Nonary games on Steam. But yeah, it's the first and the second game together, which are the first one's good, and the second one's supposed to be like really, really good.
Huh?
And yeah, I've been really enjoying that.
Nice.
The second one's called Thief's Virtue's Last Reward or something. The first one was so good at that I'll play that one sometime soon.
Nice. And then you're gearing up for God of War week, days, however.
Yeah, I'll be playing God of War 1, 2, and 3 just to get a refresher on the story. It's been a long time since I played it. You
gonna play on the hardest difficulty?
No.
Okay.
I tried on the hardest difficulty on God of War 1, and I beat all the bosses. And then I got to the part where you have to hug your wife and keep her alive while killing thing. Could not do it after 3 hours.
Is that a bun mash?
What? It's you like she's taking damage, and you have to go hug her to get her life up, and then you have to you're stunned for a while, and all these monsters keep coming and coming and coming, and you got to stop to hug her and keep. It was the hardest fucking thing I've ever played in any game, and I could not do it. I could not fucking do it. And the concept of it is so fucking dumb too.
That sounds real dumb.
I kicked his ass, and then this shit. I was so mad.
Yeah.
Listen, man, to punch is easy. To hug is difficult.
I know.
to punch is human. To forgive divine.
That's really dumb.
I was just loving your face because it was so subtle. Because I knew once Dan started talking about hugging, during like a video game, like I automatically just like Adam's gonna do something, and he just started suddenly just going like real, like you're gonna really look to see it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, those games are pretty rough, especially on the hardest difficulty. The mobs are like, the bosses are honestly easier than just the normal mobs, if I recall correctly. On the hardest difficulty.
Some of the groups of enemies are just crazy.
Yeah, it's
on
just
the hardest.
It's just fucking stupid. That comes out in April, right? The new God of War, April 20th.
420.
Yeah, 420.
Yeah.
Get high and walk in Norse mythology with your son. That's what. Or go play Nintendo Labo.
Yeah. We killed all the Greek gods. Now we're moving on to Norse.
Yeah. It's gonna be
Yeah,
good.
I feel like God of War is not so much good for the pot holiday. Whatever the day is where we all do PCP, that's the God of War day. That's the day. I don't know what day it is, but if there is one, that's a great time.
I don't know. I'm not big in the PCP circles, so I don't know if there's a number associated.
You don't
with that
subscribe to
lifestyle.
PCP Aficionado magazine?
Yeah.
I think that would be June 9th because 69, dude.
Maybe. I'm waiting to see if chat says 669 as well, so maybe you're onto something. Oh, okay. Nope, it's June the 17th according to Jaster. Jaster sounds like a person that would Jaster, just in general, the name sounds like a PCP person.
Sound like a respectable person.
Yeah.
Take that, Jaster.
Yeah.
Get some angel dust, play some video games. It's great. Yikes.
Exactly. Well, cool.
Shit, Adam, I didn't know you like to get wet.
This is a different type of role play altogether,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna skip right over it. And instead, we're gonna talk about we're gonna role play me and Dan. Actually, I guess all of us are here now with the stupid kid. So it's four dads and a dumb kid.
Poor kid.
Yeah.
That poor kid.
Yeah.
Let's talk about goals, so that we know for what you will be rewarded today. Berg, your current goals: find out why bad things keep happening to me. The goal eternal. Learn more about the nature of Tulpa, and ensure the safety of the child. So you want to make sure nothing bad happens to her.
I think they can stay.
Ramus. Yeah. I think because we talked about them in the end of last session, so not necessarily something that needs to get changed. There's none of these should be like invalid or like a gone now. Ramus, I've got you. Find out why heaven's not answering. Find out about Tulpa or the elves from the city of Brass, so like go out and just like find some information about them, and then speak to a representative of the tower about their goals. Figure out what the tower wants in this situation because you haven't had a chance to interact with them yet. And then Sully, you want to study the bracer and the rod. You want to understand Ramus's magic and convince the tower and the immortals to work together against the Farang, which is it's a big goal. I believe in you, but that's a big one.
Okay.
And then Kalimat, find out what the prisoner was. Try to find said prisoner, and then learn why this kid is so important. What is the deal with this strange child?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
I wanted to,
yes.
Change.
So go
I
ahead, Dan.
wanted to change one of my goals. Change the talk to the tower one to solve a problem with the help of Sully.
Oh, okay. So work with Sully to solve a problem.
Get one easy one in there.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. So these you'll get XP for pursuing them, but you'll get more XP for accomplishing them. And right now there aren't any like quests for the whole group because I don't think you've really decided who you're gonna kind of side with yet. There's a lot of options, a lot of stuff going on in the City of Brass. So just as a quick review, because it's been a little while, the City of Brass, crown jewel of the Court of Wands, grand city of majesty in the desert, ruled by the four immortals, currently under siege from within by a mysterious group of extra-dimensional invaders called the Farang. Berg's dark passenger is in some way connected to them as as potentially was some of the actions that occurred in the last bit of the arc when you guys were away in the seclusium of Utrix. But where we stand now, the city is in chaos, with some districts being abandoned and evacuated. The Immortals and their servant, the Harissa, fighting alongside their allies to push out these enemies, but they're being thwarted or conflicted against the servants of the tower and their allies. This armada of heaven who has come to essentially burn the city down, to keep it out of the hands of the enemy. This is the sort of Salted Earth Alliance, the idea that they want to destroy things before the Farang get their hands on them, because it's a foregone conclusion that you can't win a fight with the Farang, at least to the tower. So they are working in opposition against the Farang and against the Immortals. And while all of this is going on, cracks have begun to appear in the Undercity, in the shadowy places, through which the slippery servants of the Mara, those naughty boys, have started to emerge. So we're seeing demons, increased cult activity, bad stuff going on. And you've had a couple of run-ins with the servants of the Mara. So all in all, real great time for the City of Brass. This has been going on for at least a week, maybe longer. And the characters, y'all have been in town maybe 2 days, over which you've gotten exactly 0 sleep. Everybody's within a stone's throw of death. Some of you drowning in levels of exhaustion. And when we fade in, we see the 4 of you sitting in kind of a wide shot on a bench in a hallway, a stone hallway, outside the office of Commander Farzad, who is a field commander of the Harissa, who you met first outside the gates of the city, tangling with some humanoids that had been drafted into the cause of the tower. Farzad does not like you very much, but it's possible that that's just because Farzad doesn't like anybody very much. He's got a lot on his plate right now, and he sent 2 of you, at least, out to destroy one of these crystalline nodes that the Farang are using to create a network of anti-magic throughout the city. So you did it. You went and you busted that up, but you were supposed to follow it up by accessing a gate to Inanna's realm, because that's why he sent you down there, right? Go talk to Inanna. You know her. You have interacted with her before. Maybe she'll listen to you, because the Immortals are trying to rally the remaining Sahir to their cause, to get them to help fight against the Farang and against the forces of the tower. So Farzad probably will not be too pleased to learn that you've just come back, but we'll get to that. And then, as mentioned, you have an unnamed, non-common speaking young Air Genasi peasant girl, who we recognize from the scrying pond in Utrix's realm, and she is the reincarnation of Azure Vortex, a Genasi monk from some time ago, and a close friend of Berg's.
Someone in chat brings up a good point. Does skipping a week of Court of Swords count as a short rest?
Ha, no. It may be for the players, but the characters were jumping right back into it.
That was actually my question. Like, okay, yeah, so Berg is still the most exhausted he's ever been. Still, yeah. All right.
Yeah, we're in a rough spot, for sure.
Got some new armor, though. Pretty dope.
You stole some new armor.
Yeah.
No, I just... don't focus on the details.
I mean, it was a shield. It was a shield, right? Yeah.
Shield,
and there's a dwarven craftsman down in Forge Row who you just proved that no orc can be trusted, because you gooned him and then ran off with his shield.
Dwarves are assholes, and he got what he deserved. You know.
Yep.
Yes, yeah. That's the great thing about moral equivacy, is that you can choose whatever side feels right for you. So yeah, the current scene is that the 4 of you have been brought by one of the sergeants to await an appointment or a meeting with Commander Farzad, who is currently receiving his orders direct from the Immortals. So he's pretty much your channel to them, and in your company is the young girl who, I think after a long and arduous day, she's not an adventurer, so she is probably asleep at this point. And I imagine she would just be like curled up on the floor next to the bench, just like snoozing away. Yeah. So we fade back in on the four of you. And unless you are sort of mid-conversation, unless there's any preamble, I think we can just start with the door opens and Farzad invites you in.
I don't know if we're in conversation. I'm staring at the.
You're all.
Well, I'm staring at the sleeping child, and I'm like shutting my eyes really, really intensely, and then opening them. And every time that she's still there, I close them again and try to make. I'm just trying to make her disappear, just without casting a spell or anything.
I'm sitting close to her. I don't know. I don't know if it's actually like guarding, but you know.
Yeah, Kalamata, you're the one that she is like comfortable around. She's scared of Berg because Berg is a big scary orc, and also she saw Berg snap a dude's neck, and she's curious about Selihafa. Probably doesn't have an opinion about Ramus yet, but Kali, she's been sort of following you because you tried to talk to her and like engage with her.
Yeah,
and then I approached them, Solly and Ramus.
I mean, you're all sitting on the bench, so you can just like look over at them.
Yeah. I trust she didn't give you much trouble.
I turned to Ramus. Do you want to handle this? I'm trying to make her disappear.
She needs to go.
Well, that's one way.
I agree. Back to her family. Back to her parents. Does anyone want to tell me why she's here in the first place? Now that we have a second to talk?
Yeah, who the hell is she, by the way? Why do we have her?
She was in that dungeon. I don't know. She meant something to Berg. You never shared with us, right, Max? Why this girl meant anything to us? Or to you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't believe so. Maybe Adam can also fact check that. I don't think
What's that?
I don't think Berg ever shared who the girl was.
Oh no.
Yeah, no.
No, I don't think you ever said it. We all know, but
Ramus would be the only one that would know too, right? Oh.
Yeah, Ramus
I'd
might
be the only
know.
one that recognized the name because I interact with her, but I don't know like who this girl is.
So you guys say that, and there's like
The girl stays until we can make sure she's safe.
By being around us, she's nothing but safe.
I heartily disagree.
She was so helpful last night in front of the cultists. Bravo to her.
She's a tiny girl.
That is no excuse.
The two of you raising your voice wake her up, and we see her like blink the sleep out of her eyes and like look up and look around. There's a moment where she's kind of like, "Where am I? What's?" And then she realizes that no, it was not all a strange dream, and she just kind of like leans back against the wall and folds her arms over her chest and kind of like stares around nervously.
Yeah. So, Berg, you seem to be the only one who knows anything. Who is this girl?
Is she within earshot?
Yeah, she's sitting right next to Kalamata.
But well, as far as anyone knows, she can't understand us, and we can't understand her.
She doesn't seem to speak common, so.
Even so, I think Berg motions for Ramus, just like points at him and like motions for him to come closer.
What?
What was the thing called? The scrying?
Oh yeah, the scrying pool.
Yeah.
In Utrix's Jerusalem underneath the pool, the pool of water, I saw this girl when I thought of as a vortex, and if she made it through, if you know what I mean, this is her. No harm will come to her.
You mean to tell me that this is Azure Vortex? You know you can't date her. She's too young now.
Ramus! Please.
Fucking Ray.
Why would you even say that? It's gross. I just wanted to be safe.
I'm not the one that thought of her. Of all the things you could have thought about, you thought about your dead girlfriend at the scrying pool. All the secrets you could have known.
I just wanted to make sure the soul moved on.
You have a lot of trouble letting things go, Berg. You hold on to things forever. You need to let things go once in a while.
You think
I think we may
I
be
wanted
missing.
her here?
We may be missing the bigger picture here. If indeed this girl is the reincarnation of the Azure Vortex, whatever that is, how in the holy hells did he find out about it?
Oh, you heard that, did you?
You were yelling.
He's a good listener, Berg, and you weren't exactly quiet.
You're all sitting like 2 feet apart from each other on a bench anyway.
Berg thought he could be quiet.
Try it. Let's try it. It's fine.
There's only one way Kukrit could have known, and I think we saw why. He was in dealings with the Mara. Their servants were all over that place.
Things are bad enough. Perhaps we don't go saying the M word.
Their name doesn't have power. It's your desires in your heart.
Well, they know we're desperate. I'm sure they've been watching.
They're all over this city. They thrive in chaos and misery and bad feelings, and where better than here? A city on fire and destruction. They're thriving here.
Well, this girl still must be safe. I will make sure that, and if any of you harm her, you will deal with me.
No offense, Berg, but you look like you can barely hold your weapon up right now.
Try me, Ramus.
Sure, I'll just make sure I move 20 feet away every 6 seconds and I'll be fine.
Berg just wins you.
That might have been the
very-
nerdiest salt I've ever heard in my entire life.
I love how very occasionally Ramus will look at the camera like, oh, I know I'm a D&D character. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Very Ferris Bueller, just like, yeah, guys.
It's not even fair, because what does Berg say to that? It's just confusing.
Yep. So yeah, I think at that point, like when there's that lull in the conversation, the door to Farzad's office opens, okay. And he comes out into the hall and he looks at the four of you sitting on this bench, and his eyes go from Kalamata, who he's spoken to recently, across the rest of the group, down to this kid, and you see one dark brown eyebrow cork slightly when he sees her. Farzad looks like he's a little like rough around the edges. His eyes have dark circles under them. His tunic is stained with sweat. He looks like he hasn't had a chance to like rest or like clean up, probably as long as you have. So he's looking a little frayed. And then he sees this peasant girl and he says to the four of you, "Come inside." And he turns and goes back into his office.
Yeah. I reach my hand out to the little girl for her to grab it.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, she takes her hand and you pull her to her feet.
Yep.
And she just sort of follows you on autopilot as you go inside.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
following.
So yeah, I mean his the office, the scene in which we transition to is like a little crowded for 5 people or four and a third person. He's got his big desk, and there's papers all over the place, and scrolls and books, and he's got a map of the city laid out. And again, the office smells a little like someone who hasn't rested or bathed in a while has been like living in here. It's a little ripe. And the girl kind of like wrinkles her nose and like looks around all the books that she can't read. It's probably more printed material than she's ever seen in her life. And you can see the timer to like boredom acting out start as soon as she walks in. But as you walk into the office, Berg Farzad says to you, because I think you're the last one in. He says, "Shut the door." Okay.
Is it?
So you swing the door closed as you come in. So he says, I don't know where to begin. We were all together, and then we were not, and now." And he gestures. Who's that? And he gestures to the girl.
Just another displaced person due to this cataclysm that we see ourselves in front of. And me being the soft-hearted person, I couldn't leave her behind.
She puts her hand out, like flat again, and like taps it and says something. You've seen her do this before, and she's looking at Farzad, and she's just like says this word, and he's like, "Well, I don't speak peasant, so."
Neither do we.
Do you have someone on staff that does? Be a great aid to us.
It would be a great aid to you if I could find you someone who could speak to a 10-year-old peasant. Where did you find her? Is she of value?
No. Just doing what we think is right. And whether you think it's right or not, it's up to me. She is our charge, and can we get to the actual business?
He nods, and he says, "Yes, absolutely. So, what do you have to report?"
Solid.
Yeah, right. There's just like silence in the room where you're like, how much do we tell this guy? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
I think we all look at each other. Where were you in all of this? Where have you been?
You're saying that to
Yeah.
Farzad,
I
right?
just crossed my arms.
What do you have to report? He sighs and he says, "I've been here in my office taking missives. The immortals have." He sighs frustratedly, and you can see that this is a point of frustration, a severe point of frustration for him. He says, "The immortals have retreated to the Forbidden Sanctum. All communication has been cut off with them. So we are on our own for the time being, which I suppose puts me and several others in charge."
Have they made their
isn't going
intentions
to get
clear
any
as to
easy.
what? Sorry.
What is the
No,
Forbidden Sanctum? What is that?
Forbidden.
Yes, the orc has the right of it. It's where they go when they need to commune with heaven or meditate on important matters. It is a place where no mortal can go.
Well, unfortunately, Heaven doesn't seem to be answering any divination requests right now, and I have no idea why.
I think things are a bit complicated in the relationship between heaven and earth, given that servants of the tower, and he looks pointedly at you, Ramus, have been killing my men in the streets. It would be bad enough with one foe. But now I'm hearing there are reports of Mara activity. Do you know anything about this? What have you seen?
Yes. We've ran into cultists in the streets killing people in the name of the Mara. The lower sectors have gone to madness past the gate.
Pathetic. Desperate times, and these people just fall apart.
I turned to Ramus.
Disgusting.
Ramus, do we know for certain that was the Mara?
They were shouting to the name of a demon. I would assume they are worshipping him, or praising him. They may not be directly connected, but that creature we saw with the wings, that was not human.
Does this sound familiar, sir?
He's like, I'm neither monk nor priest. I don't have study in the ways of the Mara. Try to avoid them if I can. But it sounds like we have more problems than we thought. One thing at a time. You were given a mission, and he points, and you can see there's a letter on his desk. It's in like there's a black envelope that's open, and it has half the broken seal of the Immortals. He says, before they left for the Sanctum, this came from the page. It outlines some of their operations. Were you able to contact Zahir? What's going on?
Well, we've completed part of the mission. We have destroyed the item, the crystal. But unfortunately, we nearly died, and we need a place to recover so we can do the second half of the mission.
Well, I don't know what you're doing here in my office then. You have what we need you to do. So go and do it.
And we did run into a problem. They have these anti-magic fields everywhere where the fountain's magic just doesn't work inside of them. And me and my friend here are powerless inside to fight them. If we run into more of these fields, I don't know how we're going to deal with it. We barely got through the last one.
And you've come to me for what?
Not you, but the Immortals. They know magic. I don't know if they've figured out a way to disable them from the outside, or I don't know.
If we had a way to fight them, it would be in the hands of my soldiers already. We know about these fields they produce, this dampening, but I believe that's what they need the Sahir for. This kind of unusual magic. It's very much their style. But now the Immortals have gone. So we're on our own.
And we're
Have you
supposed
fought
to be
the Farang before?
What, personally? Myself?
Yes,
No.
I have. I would rather not again. They are extremely formidable, and they have this very annoying habit of exploding when they are vanquished. You see the remains in the ground, the spherical shape. That is what we were a party to. Do you know how to stop them from doing this? Something that would make us, maybe if not physically better armed, maybe mentally better armed to face these things.
We would arm all of our agents as best we could if we had the tools to do so. This would be much easier if the forces of heaven were not burning down our libraries, destroying bridges, killing our operatives.
Well,
Beset by foes. Foes and people with nothing but excuses to give me.
Do you have
I
any
understand
answers?
that it is hard.
I'm sorry, sir, but this is a complete waste of our time and yours. You seem like you have no answers, but just whining. Do you have a goal? Are you leading your people? We've told you what we did and what we tried to accomplish. You took us on a train and it fell apart.
We are doing the best that we can. I have nothing to give you.
well,
We're done here.
I'll tell you this.
I turn around and just start walking out. Even
It seems as though, at least for the time being, that the goals of the tower and the goals of the Immortals are in line. At least for now. You both, as far as I know, would like to rid the city of the Farzad. Or the Farang, excuse me. Your Farzad. of the Farang.
Of you.
Yeah. Of you, and then you just stab him.
Kill him. Just that's it. Down he goes.
Roll for initiative. Yeah, you'd like to both of you would like to rid the city of the Farang. Why don't you work together to do this? It seems you can continue fighting after the threat to everybody is vanquished. I suggest you send an envoy to the tower to see if there's some sort of way you can build a temporary truce or something of that nature so that we may all fight the same enemy, and then we can have our little inner city squabbles afterwards.
The Immortals
Sounds to me
left.
like you're volunteering.
The Immortals left you in charge, right? While they're away.
Not me personally, but the heads of the divisions. I have my responsibility. The rest have theirs.
But you're the leader now, the de facto leader now that the Immortals are not speaking. I don't speak for you.
Branch of the Aharisa, yes.
Yes. I don't speak for the tower. I don't speak for you. The only person I speak for that I hold allegiance to is me. And these 4 other people here with me. It's the only allegiance that I have. So if I went there, it would hold no weight. Someone in a uniform of the City of Brass would definitely hold more weight, and their voice would be heard. Because, believe it or not, the tower is hurting as well.
He looks at you and he says, the purpose of the tower is not to debate or to discuss. All they do is destroy. That is its function in the Arcana. I cannot trust any of my men to survive such an encounter. What reason do I have to think that they won't simply murder us? It seems to be
They're only attacking you because you're getting in their way. They want to stop the Farang from getting important information from the city. It sounds like you're both fighting the Farang, but you're going about it in different ways. If you were to ally together and fight the Farang, they could destroy the Farang, which is what the tower does best.
He sighs, and you can see him like kind of mulling it over. Kalamata, why don't you make a persuade check?
I'd love to. It's what I'm good at, usually.
I know it is.
Good luck. Oh, fucking
shit.
Finally.
So persuaded. Okay. So he,
30.
yeah, he looks at you, and he says, "For now, all we have been able to tell about the operations of this armada of the tower has been the destruction they leave in their wake. If you believe that they have a purpose beyond simply burning the city down before the Farang can take it, I have no choice but to believe you." And again, he looks at Ramus like, "I see you in your fucking tower regalia. Perhaps, even though our purposes are being achieved differently, our goal is the same. Protection of that which is. But I cannot in good faith simply just send someone to go and speak with them. Would you act as a go-between for us? I can send you someone to speak on behalf of the Aharisa, but you must accompany them to make the introduction. We cannot simply walk up to their fortress and expect to live. Because for now, regardless of our purpose, we are at war."
That is all I ask. I for one, I don't know, I can't speak for my companions, but I will agree to those terms.
Okay. He says, fine. Go to the barracks. Tell the quartermaster there that you are to be given food, to be given a place to rest. I I will find someone to send with you. I'll send for you when they're ready. Just go.
Berg's already turned into leave.
Yep.
Yeah, he dismisses you. Berg, when you turn to leave, because you're close to the door, you're like, okay, meeting's over. You turn to leave. The door is open, and the kid is gone.
Well, I walked out when I turned and left. So did I see that? Did I see the kid like leave?
Let's have you roll. Let's see here.
Because after I yelled at the guy, I left the hall.
Okay, yeah, if you went outside, sure.
Yeah. What would you like,
make a perception?
Perception? Okay.
Yeah, make a
Roll
perception
good.
check.
By your laughing, I'm going to say that she rolled well. I rolled a 20, though.
Oh, you beat her. Okay. So rewind a second. So Berg, you turn, you see the door is open, and the girl is gone because she's gone into the hallway. A few seconds ago, though, Sully, we still hear Kalamata giving the commander of the business, and then you hear the door creak open, and you see the little girl like sneak out into the hallway. She doesn't look your way, like she looks the other way. Do you say anything or do anything?
Oh, it's the always comedic thing where you're just standing behind someone who's sneaking and they don't really just, where are you going? Just very
And she
loud
like freezes up, and she turns around real slowly. She looks at you, and you notice, like, this is kind of the only time you've ever really been like alone with her. And there are people moving through the hallway and stuff. You notice that despite the like humid, like hot air in the building, there's no breeze. It's stagnant air. Her hair is like moving as if it were being like moved by a gentle breeze. She looks up at you like, I got busted. And then she starts talking in peasant at you, like she's explaining something. And she points down the hall and like points over her shoulder and points at the room and is like talking quite quickly.
How? It's been like what? Less than 24 hours that we've been around this girl, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I start making intelligence checks to see if I can pick up on the language at all? The more she says it, to see if I can just like
little words here and there.
pick words apart and try to form things from that, or no, because I have no reference for them.
Yeah, I don't think, like, I think if you actually sat her down and you like pointed at an object and got her to like explain vocabulary to you, but right now it's just like word vomit. She's just like babbling at you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll like put my arms on her shoulder then and like get down to her level. And then does she stop talking? Does she like focus in on whatever?
Yeah. As soon as you like touch her, she kind of like, you feel her tense up a little and you like kneel down.
Okay. I'll point to my chest and say, Solly, and then point to her chest and say, and not say anything.
Okay. So you point at her like sternum, and she taps it and she says a word.
Can I repeat the word?
You don't recognize it.
Well then I'll point to myself again and say Solly, and then point to her and say the word.
Okay, and where what do you like? What's the physical gesture?
Just like a point at her as a general person, not to a specific body part.
And no, when you point at yourself.
Oh, like at my chest.
Okay, all right. So when you do that, you point at your chest to Sully. She shakes her head and she like points at your chest and says the same word she said when she was pointing at herself.
Okay, so I know that potentially is the word for chest, maybe, or for sternum, or for the core, or something.
Yeah, or body, or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, my head just like.
And then she puts her hand out flat like this.
Okay.
Points at it, and says that word that she keeps saying when she does that.
At her palm.
Yeah, she puts her hand out at eye level, palm out, touches it, and says that thing that she does the same gesture she keeps doing.
Okay, I put my hand out at her and have like a confused face as I do so. Does she do anything to my hand?
She takes your other hand and like folds your hand up so you've got a finger sticking out, and she makes you tap your palm and then looks at you like expectantly.
Okay, I tap my palm and say the word, I guess.
she sighs and like rolls her eyes, and then she does it and says that word, and then she does it again. She holds your hand out and makes you like tap your hand and says, like, and opens her mouth like what? Okay, say the thing.
Is this a situation where Solly was smart enough to understand this, but I'm not?
I mean, I don't know. Like it's intuitive, not intelligent, right? Like you're reading body language and like cultural cues and stuff. You can make an intelligence check. There's an obscure chance that you may recognize the word she keeps saying when she's touching her hand.
Okay. 17?
No, I don't think so. So yeah, so she like sighs, and what started with you trying to teach her something is like now she's like getting frustrated with you for not understanding her, and so she puts her hand out, she taps it, and she says that word.
The same word that she did when she pointed at her chest, or a different word?
No, different word.
Oh,
the same word she keeps saying every time she's done it. Yeah, different word.
Oh.
And then for you, she like takes your hand, makes you like put your hand out, holds your wrist and is like tap tap, and then
I tap my wrist and say, Solly?
And she kind of like nods, like Sully.
And then I tapped my chest and say, Solly.
She shakes her head and she taps your chest and says the word that she said when she tapped hers.
And then I tap my hand, or I tap her hand and point towards her. What does she say?
she taps her hand and says the thing that she keeps saying.
Okay, can I repeat that?
Word you don't quite recognize.
Verbatim?
Yeah, so she does that and says it and puts her hands down, and then you say it to her.
Yeah.
She nods.
Okay. I just dropped my hand.
Honestly, like this reminds me of Anyang from fucking Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Anyang.
Yeah. I put my hands at my side, and children are exhausting in this world.
And Berg, that's what you walk in on. So Berg, you open the door to look where she is, and she's got her arms folded, and she's looking at Sully like Sully's an idiot, and Sully's like rolling his eyes like, oh, children. And then you see that happening.
Yeah.
When did she come out here?
A minute or two ago, after I stormed out. Did he have anything useful to say after I left?
No, not really.
Well, we need to find food and shelter, I suppose. Did he say anything about that?
Yes. Going to the barracks. Rest there. Get food. And then he will send for us.
Berg, I don't think this child should stay with us. But I understand if you don't want to leave her in an orphanage.
No. She... I don't know if she can come with us when we... If it becomes very dangerous, maybe we'll find a place for her to stay. Maybe, if the people are trustworthy. We cannot just hand her off to anyone. It is important that she lives, or I have failed again.
I would not trust anyone in this city, so... I guess we're stuck with her. I assume like Kalamata and Ramus walk out, I'd turn to them. They say where the barracks were.
Yeah, I think everybody's coming out.
Yeah, I'd turn to Kali. Did he say where the barracks were?
We said we would report to the quartermaster, and then he would set us up with lodging and food, and he would fetch us in the morning, or whatever.
Yeah, they're a harissa everywhere, so you can just ask and get directions to it, no problem.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just turn around and find the nearest person and ask.
Okay, yeah. So a random like member of the harissa tells you like where it is and what ward it is in.
Okay. Well, we have our directions. Let's go. I'm hungry and tired. I look kind of everyone else up and down. Looks like all of you are as well.
Yes. Where did she run off to? I looked and I saw the door was open and she was gone.
Oh, she just ran outside. I caught her. I don't know where she would have gone, but I looked down at her. She's safe-ish.
Was that a joke?
No, I was simply stating that she might be safe, but she might not with us. That's what the ish implies.
Never mind.
I kind of just look around confused as people walk by me, probably. I think we start heading down the steps.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so the castle, the castle fortress of the Harissa is like a huge facility where they train and live, and it's basically just like a big military castle that surrounds the beautiful ivory and black stone palace of the Immortals. It's sort of this great red wall around the inner sanctum, and everywhere you look, everywhere you go, there are members of the Harissa dressed in their red sashes with the traditional turban that they wear in duty, and they're coming and going. It's obviously a very busy time for the city guard because it's an invasion, so there's a lot going on, and as a result, y'all kind of get ignored for the most part. It's that thing where it's so busy here that it's not so much that you fit in, it's just no one has time to stop and be like, what are you doing here? Who are you? And we see you come into to the barracks. The barracks are crowded, as you might imagine. People are resting here. I think there's probably some triage, like spillover. People who have been injured in the fighting, but who are not injured enough to warrant being in the infirmary, as well as off-duty guards. So there are guards. I think we see a couple of guards playing like a card game around a table. The smell of human bodies in a heated environment drifts in the air, and you walk in and no one really notices you enter the barracks area, at least not initially.
Okay.
What are you gonna do?
I think we're standing there waiting for someone to approach us. At least I am, and after a handful of seconds, I elbow Kalamata and say, we need someone. This is all. Talk to them. I just kind of like put my hand up, confused as to why we're not being serviced yet.
I just ask where the quartermaster is. Anybody who's walking by, like, stop anybody, like, excuse me, I need to find the quartermaster.
Yeah, and so this woman, a soldier, she's sitting there sharpening her sword. She looks up and she just points across the room, and you see a man, a bald man with like ebon dark skin, wearing the turban and sash of the Harissa, and he's arguing with another like a younger guard. He's just like berating this dude, and the guard you can see by his body language, he's just like, I'm sorry, trying to back off, and this guy is just like, you idiot, you moron, you fool, what are you doing? You're an embarrassment to your family. Why are you talking to me? And like he's just like berating this guy, and you and the woman both look over at this guy, and then she looks at you and she says in common, she just says, good luck, and grins at you.
Thank you. Excuse me. I'm sorry. We were sent here by Commander Farzad.
So the guy, you interrupt this dude's yelling at this other guy, and he stops a second, and he looks over at you, and then he looks back at the guy he was yelling at, and he says, I need you to thank this man. And he points at you. And the private is just like eyes wide, and he says, well, what are you waiting for? He has saved you from any more verbal abuse from me for your idiocy. This man is your savior, your messiah. Thank him, fool. And the private is like, thank you, sir, thank you. And then like runs off. And the quartermaster turns to you.
You're welcome.
And he says, well, you're a strange looking one, and not in uniform. You must be here from the commander. I am Javid. And he like puts his hand out.
I am Kalamata Alfida.
Cool. dude's got a hell of a grip on him, like just squeezes your hand, and he grins. You can see he's got a couple of gold teeth, bald, very dark, and he says, well, if you have come to the river looking to drink, the river is dry, my boy. These are harsh times. If you're looking for swords, for food, for bedclothes, I have nothing. Bandages, none. So, what blood can you wring from this stone today?
Well, I require horses, a feast, dancing women. Can you provide these for me?
I will trade you for a hand job from Inanna. Get me that and you can have anything you want.
So it's on the table. All right. But before we do that,
he grins at you and you say it's on the table and he says, or the floor or a bed. I don't care. I'm not a picky man.
Perfect. I like that. And neither are we, as it happens. All we need
neither
is...
Neither picky nor men, I think. And he looks at you and he sees the group like nearby or approaching. And he says, strange bedfellows. If the commander sent you, then I am bound to help. What did he say you could have?
Just a place to collapse. We are, as you can tell, we are fresh from battle. We have been through the worst and out the other side. And now we must battle again. But before we can do that, we need rest. So if you have any quiet, I know that's too much to ask for, but any just spot that we could rest for a while, maybe a crust of bread, a little bit of water.
We have rations. If you're not picky, I can have some sent to you. As for space, the bunks belong to no one but the guard, so if you can find an empty one, put your body in it. If someone tries to interrupt your sleep, fight them off. These are harsh times, but we all serve the same purpose. And he squints at Ramus. Tell that one to take off that tabard and cover that shield. He'll find no friends here just like that.
I'll let him know.
I'm sure that you have reasons going about with a priest of the tower with whom we are at a state of discontent, but I don't want to see murder in my barracks. We don't need it. Bad for morale.
I understand. It's, without telling you too much, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, kind of thing. We're trying to work that out.
He shrugs and he says, that sounds like politics. And if I wanted to be in politics, I wouldn't be here. Go find somewhere to rest.
Yes.
I will bring you something to eat. You can thank me and the commander, and you can send Inanna to me later when all of this is over.
Well, do you want me to send her to you?
And he pushes you out of the way and he's like, is that a child? And just like looks at her.
Wow, you have good eyes. Yes, it is a child.
This is a bad place for children. Keep an eye on her. Don't let her get into any trouble. Or don't let trouble get its hands on her. And he looks around.
This is a bad place for everyone.
So you do understand. And he claps you on the shoulder and he says, try to get some rest.
I will. And thank you. What was your name again?
Javid.
Javid.
And
Hello, Javid.
Yeah, he gives you a salute and then goes to find someone to yell at to get some rations for you.
Okay. Well, we are to find our own place to sleep if there's empty beds. Yeah, as I go back to the group. We're to find our own place to sleep. If there are empty beds, we take them. If not, we sleep on the floor. But he will be bringing rations to us, so we do have a place to sleep and eat as long as we can find it.
The second he says that, I pan around in the room. Is it hard to find a place from the looks of it? Or
Um,
a bunk, rather?
no, I mean, I think like yes, but not that I'm gonna put like an obstacle in your way. Like narratively, there's a bit of like cajoling, trying to find somewhere to rest. But I don't think it's worth like rolling for or like making a big deal out of. Like it's the barracks, and if you're willing to like take whatever bed you can find, then you're fine.
Here's a better question. How much room is there in the middle of the bunk or the middle of the room?
Room is one thing you do not have. This is it's a big open area, kind of like a common area in like a prison or like a military facility. In that, like it's meant to cram as many people as possible into a small space. It's oversaturated with humans right now. There are people like sleeping on the floor. All the bunks are taken up. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
And since I knew that was going to happen, Zeke and Kalamata both probably knew that he was going to try and look for a fucking place to set that fucking hut up
Yeah.
in the middle of the goddamn castle. So I look at him looking around the room, and I say, Sully, there's no room. Don't.
What do you mean?
Let us take his hospitality for what it's worth.
What? I could fit it right there. What do you mean? It would fit right in that corner. The dimensions are perfect.
Yes, but could you fit every single guard in that little hut?
Well, I didn't
Do you
think
have
of
enough
that. We
hut for
could
the rest of
charge
the class.
We could charge them for it. Kalamata, we could make money.
You have been hanging around with Ramus far too long.
What does that mean?
Oh, Sully, by the way, could you make this shield appear to be that of the sun instead? Using your illusions.
I snap my finger real quick and say a word and say,
I'll take this tabard off and put it in my bag.
only for a minute or so I'd have to sleep. Just turn the shield around and face it towards the wall.
Just keep casting it so I can hide it under the bed.
Fine. But back...
Yeah, I mean, if you just take your tabard off and like cover the shield with it inside out, you can find a place to stash it. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't slept outside of the hut and I can't even remember. And I look towards the
Your
bed.
shell is a hut. Sleep in it.
How primitive, Berg. I walk over to the
Bird
bed.
just looks at you and like looks at himself and then looks at you like you think about what you just said.
Yeah. I walk over to the bed. I'm like pushing it to see if it is comfortable, it can support a 400-pound turtle, etc.
Right, put your hands down, like and squeaking on the bed, trying to like, yeah. And these are just like roll out like cots on little wooden frames, and they take up basically like all the space. And otherwise, you have to like push past people, and it's a whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, not a lot of room, but you can eventually find a place to rest.
Sure. Yeah, I just tell Kali, well, I guess I'll sleep on a normal bed.
I go over to one of the cots and I pat it, looking at the child.
And she walks over and like sits down on it and looks around, and you can see she's like, there's probably more people than she's seen ever in her whole life. Like there's definitely more than a village worth of humans just in this big room alone. And so she's just kind of withdrawn a little bit and is like quite quiet.
I'm going to try and keep, like, before I go to, like, exhaustion just takes me and makes me completely collapse. I'm going to try and keep communicating with her and, like, pointing at things and saying words like, like, you know, just, like, tongue.
Yeah.
Nose. Ear. Hand.
Yeah. So she like watches you and like kind of just like, you can see she's listening, but she's not like participating. It's not like, it doesn't seem like a game to her. And you pause for a second and she points across the room and she says, Sully.
Yes?
What?
Yes?
Sully.
What?
And I nod. I nod at her.
Sully.
Yes.
And then she
Sully?
puts her hand
And then
out
I point at-
and she taps it. And she says the word when she points at her hand.
Sully.
She nods and rolls her eyes like, yeah, I know. Sully.
And I Kalamata? Kalamata?
And she closes her eyes and she bows and she points at her hand and says the word again.
What's the word? I want to know this word.
I mean, I don't know what it is. Like, I'd have to come up with something in peasant language. You can make an intelligence check to maybe see if you recognize it.
Okay. Just a saving throw?
Yeah, sure.
15?
Okay, yeah, you don't. Do you have nature? This is like a weird question, but do you have the nature skill?
No.
Okay, all right. So yeah, you don't recognize it.
Yeah, when I see that Kalamata is like jubilant by learning her name or her recognizing me, Kalamata, haven't you ever had a dog? This is simply the same thing. They'll recognize a person, but you don't understand their language. You can't communicate with her. But she knows her
I'm
name.
going to do my best not to be mad that you compared a little human girl to a dog.
I turn around and kind of like confused as to why that would be an insult. I said,
I forget.
Children are just pets.
I forget, Solly. I grab Ramus's hand. I go over to Ramus. I grab his hand, and I do the thing. I point at his hand. In his hand. I go, and I look at the girl, Ramus.
So you're holding, and she looks at you like, "What are you doing?" Like the gesture that you're doing makes no fucking sense.
I get behind Ramus and I grab his hand and I make him do it. Ramus,
good old puppet, and. So she squints at you, Ramus, like, why are you letting him do this to you?
Yeah, at this point, I just call
if you do not get your hands off me, I will banish you to the plane of fire.
I'm going to sleep. Please don't kill each other. I just like fall back in my bunk.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm sorry.
Is there a bunk that's big enough for Berg, or is it more like Berg should just like slump against the wall or something?
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty big. But then, some bed is probably better than none, but also you're used to sleeping not in a bed, so you could fall asleep for sure.
I'm only going to get one level of exhaustion back, right?
Yes,
that's how that works.
If you have a long rest. Yeah.
This is gonna suck
for ease of purpose, now that we've like kind of learned the girl's name, this isn't her name, but this is the sound that she makes, and it sounds a little like a name, so it kind of works. When she points to her hand, she says "Maud." Like, okay, it's probably if we spelled it in English characters, it'd be like MAAD, but it also sounds like the girl's name Maud, so you could just call her that for now. You'll be mispronouncing her name, but it's fine.
Okay, cool. I'm just so happy, and I've learned. Finally, I can call her by her name, sort of. All right, I go back to the cot. Kalamata.
she watches you and she just shakes her head like, "Congratulations, you know your own name."
Yeah, Maud.
And she nods like, "Yes." Mm-hmm.
And I present the cot to her if she wants to go to sleep or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I take the one next to her, and if there is a one, I'll just sleep on the floor.
Okay. Yeah. I think you can find, you're a little bit spread out, the group of you, but you manage to like settle in and get some rest. At some point, Javid comes back with some very basic like rations and a clay jug of water, and gives it to you. And and enough time passes that everybody can take a long rest. So it's not purely like 8 hours of sleeping, but it's like you're awake for some of it, asleep for some of it. You're resting, and it feels like the greatest thing you've ever felt in your life. Like, it's just so nice not to be on guard and running away from things, and you can feel yourself like relaxing a little bit and so you can recover your hit points and get back whatever a long rest will give you.
Adam, during that rest, I took rings off of his Kukrit's corpse. If any of them were magical, I'd like to identify them, or at least one of them.
Yes, yeah, you can split them up because everybody can. You know what? I think it's fine in a long rest if you have enough time to like examine all of them. Two of them are just like ornamental. They're worth 25 gold each. But yeah, two of his rings are indeed magical. One of them is a bronze band with like runes etched into it, court of cups runes, and that item, that ring, is its name is the Veil of Hanju, so HAN space XU. So the Veil of Hanju, it is a ring of protection. The other is a ring that is it's iron, and it has a row of amethysts, circular amethysts around the outside of it. And the name of that ring is the Unbruised Plum, and it is a ring of poison resistance.
Ooh. Oh.
Yeah, a ring of protection and a ring of poison resistance. I mean, Kukrit was a man concerned with being poisoned or stabbed. He was afraid for his own life, so those are the kinds of items that he has.
Mm.
So you find those two rings.
Did we ever do we did, right? We did the ability score improvement thing when I leveled up to 8.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all done.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all done.
Last episode.
Just a point of like, I don't know, RP and stuff. And since I'm trying to do a dual class with a Bart and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, and since one of the spells that I have taken and want to learn, I kind of want to do I want to do a goal where I talk to Sully about this and learn like the ways to craft a spell and that kind of thing. But first I want to since I'm trying to communicate with this girl, during this long rest, Kali has a dream that we can speak to each other fluently. And she teaches me a song in the dream. And when I wake up, I can only remember 5 or 6 notes of it, but I remember being able to speak to her and being completely fluent in that. And having that spark something inside of me magical.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. I think that you dream about going on outside the dream. You don't remember the conversation you have with her, but you remember this song, this kind of kid song going back and forth. But you dream about a group of shadowy figures, 5 men, who you can never quite see their face, and they're playing a game or something that involves trying to stack or build a tower out of or a building out of sticks, and the sticks keep falling down, and they're arguing with each other and disagreeing. You recognize the symbology as being this is this dream is a gift from the Fountain of the Arcana. And the symbology is the 5 of Wands, which traditionally shows an inability to communicate because everyone is talking all at once. And so that's what you see in this dream, kind of surrounding you, is these men fighting over how best to build a house. But focusing on the girl and kind of drowning out that sound, you're able to at least hear the notes of her song.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's the thing that happens during your period of rest. Everybody else, the merciful rest that is granted to you feels real good when we come back. The group of you. I think this is some hours later, maybe a time at which you're all awake. You're eating sort of breakfast, though you've kind of become detached from the cycle of night and day. Berg, you're down to what? Two levels of exhaustion now?
If
Two
I
or three.
get
You
two of
gain
them
you
back-
gain one. No, you only gain one back.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So it's 2.
Yeah, because you were at 3, right?
Were
was
you
at
at 3 or
4.
were you at 4?
was
Oh,
at
you were at
4.
4. Okay, you're at 3 now then.
I'd love to lie and say that I was. I almost.
Yeah, I was
you know,
just- I was
there a little
confirming.
bit of ethics there.
So Berg,
And then,
your exhaustion
Berserker for me.
goes deeper than mere flesh, right? Your soul is tired. And so everybody else like is fairly well rested, but we can see that. How does that when we see Berg, when we pan across to you, what is like Berg's exhaustion when you wake up? You know that feeling where you wake up and you're still fucking tired, like it's just deeper than mere sleep. What does that look like on Berg?
What is that card?
I was just showing them chat.
Oh.
The 5 of Wands.
Yeah, Berg wakes up and it's like he just kind of his head's still down, his eyes open, and he just like you see him like kind of slump his head again, like realizing like he slept, but it's still just it feels like a bag of shit. He like tries to get up for a second the first time, and then like he's still struggling to get up. It takes him a lot longer to like find his footing and stand up. And he's yeah, he like drops the hammer for a second, you know, as he's like grabbing it, and then, like it just takes him a lot longer to collect himself.
Okay. Yeah. So everybody else is eating, and we see Berg like real slow. Old Berg slowly like trying to get up and like get his shit together. But yeah, you gotta carry that load. It's still like you're being weighed down by all this hardship. Yeah, so you have a minute to kind of like gather back up and eat together before your mission is given to you. So what does that look like? What's everybody like? Kalamata, do you have anything to share after your dream or?
Yeah, I want to talk to Solly about that. I tell him my dream. When you found, actually, let me start with this question. Do you find that you have a gift for magic? Or it was all learned?
I'm very like casually just eating, not thinking that this is a very important conversation. A little of both, I would assume. Why do you ask?
In the dream, I felt a tugging, a pull. I felt like something is trying to awaken inside of me. I feel like I can do what you do. Not as good, of course, but...
I burst out laughing. When you say that.
You do magic, Sully, and he just laughs at you.
Yeah, I'm just like, you think you can do magic, Kalamata? I do not believe it. Why do you think such a thing?
Like I said, I feel it inside of me. I had the dream, and it seemed like a portent of what was to come in the future. Can you teach me?
Where to begin? Do you even know what you want to be taught?
Yes. I know the first thing I want. I want to be able to talk to her.
I just kind of stare at the ground. I don't know how to answer this request. Do you think you can understand her? And I immediately
Yes, I do.
I have like a flashback to learning about magic in Turtletown and kind of how that all started. And I think you can see like 1,000-yard stare, Zeke, on me, and I kind of like click back in maybe when you hit me on my shoulder or something.
Sully?
Yeah. I just, where to begin? And I look towards Ramus. Did you hear what he said, Ramus? He wished to learn magic.
Well, why don't you just teach him how to steal the power like you do?
I don't laugh at all and say, I figured it would be more in your realm. I don't know. I've never been asked this
Callie
before.
doesn't strike me as one to believe in or worship gods.
You don't have to worship them to use their power, do you? You just ask them for it. That's my understanding.
Well, if that was the case, then every peasant could just cast spells at will. You have to devote yourself to the gods. Learn their ways, spread their knowledge.
Which is why I'm asking you, Sully, and not him.
I'm not a teacher, Kalamata. I hope you understand.
No one is a
this.
teacher unless they teach. So teach.
I like snap my finger. Is there water near us? You said there was a pitcher of water.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I snap my fingers and cast shape water and have the water come out of the vial and like move in front of Kalamata, then place it back in the vase.
Cool. When the water comes up, all like the abyss, all like this tendril of fluid. Yeah, Maud screams. She's just like screams and falls over and like drops her plate. Berg, you hear the girl scream, and then you look over and see the water like all like wiggling up. A bunch of the guards like look over. What the hell's going on?
And then I have it go back in, and I say, practice. Do that.
I ask Maud to come over. Maud?
She looks at you and then looks at Sully, kind of like, well, what do you want?
I pat my lap. Come here.
She like walks over cautiously.
I grab her and I ask Sully, can you do that again, or?
I snap my fingers and say, actually, yeah, it's just somatic. So with the kind of the flick of a wrist, the water comes out once again and snakes in front of the two of you.
I hold her tight and I grab her little hand and I kind of let her touch the water.
Yeah, and so she's just like, and then like touches it, and it's like it realizes that it's water. It's just like, like looks at you like, what the hell? How is this happening?
What do you feel when you're doing this, Sully? What goes on inside of you in your head?
Nothing. I'm focusing on the water, not thinking of anything else. And as I say that, like the water just kind of splashes on the floor. I like lose control of it.
I laugh to let her know it's okay. That's funny.
Right. And she looks at you like you're crazy. What are you laughing about? This is some sorcery.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try to learn how to do that. Is there something I heard you say something. Is that important?
For some spells it is, for others it's not, dude. You have to read a lot. Kalamata, do you even know how to read?
Wow.
This is exactly what I do. Just shake my head. I don't know how to read. I just look at the pictures.
So when you do that, Maud like pats you on the shoulder, like there, and then like points at the floor where all the water is, and she's like, "It's okay. Like the water's on the floor. We'll clean it up."
I hug her.
She's trying to console you because she thinks you're crying because you spilled the water all over the floor.
I hug her.
She's just like, yeah. She's like, "It's okay."
All right, and I grab her hand and we walk away, and I have what I wanted to do, like. I'll find a spell book of some sort and do some research if the time ever arrives.
I would say what's interesting though is that like bards they cast spells like sorcerers, right? You don't do you have a spell
innate?
book?
Okay.
Yeah,
I think so.
It is innate.
Yeah, I think it's more like a sorcerer. So neither Ramus nor Salihafa can really teach you the same like the way that they do magic.
Okay.
It'll come from within, right? Like the thing is that you sort of tune into the song of the universe and then sing the notes that it's already like playing.
Okay.
Yeah, so you've got some insight, at least. You've heard Ramus and Selly argue about the different ways they do magic. And I guess the angle here would be like that neither of those things sound or feel right to you. Like the idea of magic for you maybe doesn't, to not put too fine a point on it, doesn't resonate with you that way. It doesn't sound right.
Okay. The only reason why because the spells are set up like wizard spells, like spells known and like that you can do per day or whatever. So yeah, I will search within myself and try and find the power.
I think maybe you
I think
find
we can...
a book, and then you after like, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes, you realize you don't even need it or something like that. Like very quickly, you realize it's just inside of you. The power is yours.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like if Sully lets you look at his spell book, it's just a bunch of gibberish. But you can feel, like the magic. You've always known, right? You've always known there's magic in songs. But it's something that becomes, more and more evident and more obvious now. You're unlocking some access to that magic that was always there.
Kalamata. You said you spoke to Hassan, right?
Yes.
Do you know why that bastard is not responding to my divination requests?
Sort of. He's inundated with requests at this time. It's like trying to push a river through a hole this big. There's just too much water flowing to him right now.
He's too busy to respond to me?
Maybe.
Wow. I have words for him.
You have words for everybody, I'm sure.
Especially him.
You won't care, Ramus. He's a dick.
This is why I like you, Bert. You understand me and exactly how I'm feeling.
I'd respond if that means anything.
That is the sweetest thing you've ever said to me, Berg.
Now keep the child safe.
But your price is so high. God.
So as you're speaking, you hear someone that you didn't notice was there. She clears her throat. You're like, "Excuse me, gentlemen." And you look up and you see someone. They're obviously a member of the Aharisa, but they're not dressed like they're going out to fight. They're not wearing any armor. She has like red or scarlet like robes, and the robes are pinned at her shoulder with the sigil of the Aharisa. She has the turban. But it's quite a lot bigger because it's wrapped around, like she's got long like dreadlocks or braids that are up on her head, and then she's got them wrapped around. And she has, similar to Jivid, like very dark skin. And she's holding a book in one arm and has a traveling like pack slung over her shoulder, like a shoulder bag. And she says, "You are the adventurers that are going to take me to the tower?" And she looks nervously, like she says that, like, I just guessed. Sorry.
Yes, that's us. How did you know it was us? And the obvious joke. And I look at everybody. How did you know?
Well, you see, I looked around the room and you were the only ones that...
Relax. Relax.
I see. Yes.
My name is Kalamata.
Kalamata. Yes. I am Mujala. I'm a member of the diplomacy corps. The commander said that I should go with you.
Indeed. We are to negotiate a truce, if we can, between the city guard, the brass city guard, and the immortals, and the tower, to rid our city of the Farang.
We are living
Sounds
in
easy,
very
doesn't it?
interesting times, don't you think? I've been stationed in the city for some time, but I have never seen anything like this. Like what's going on. The portents have all been... It's fascinating, but I have not done any field work. She like sighs. But
Well, I'm
you
sure-
will keep me safe?
Oh yes, of course. Commander Farzad picked you for a reason. Do you know that reason?
There was a time where I had considered becoming a nun. I have a familiarity with the workings of the hierarchies of the arcana, a way with people of a religious bent.
Ah. Excellent. Well, we have one of our own who has a religious bent as well. This is Ramus.
A pleasure to meet you.
She bows slightly and says, yes, a pleasure. And then
My
like kind
total
of,
friend
waits
here-
for you to continue. Yeah.
My total friend here is Salihafa, and the orcish fellow over here is Berg.
And she nods to each of you in turn. And you can see her again, like she does a thing where she quietly says your name a couple of times to try to like help herself remember it.
And this is Maud, our friend who we found in the street with no one and nowhere to go.
You're traveling with a child? And Maud is currently shouting, not angrily, but like that little kid thing where she's like shouting at the water urn and then like looking in it and being like, go, do it, do the thing. And then like looking and then nothing's happening. And you say her name and she looks up like, what? It's fine.
Sully,
And
What?
look, she's trying to be you.
She never will be.
Isn't that great?
No, that's pointless and futile.
stupid child, she doesn't have half the magical power I do. And so Ujala says to well here, let me roll for her first. See how she does. Oof, nope. All right, she doesn't speak weird peasant common either. She says, "Oh, the girl is a genasi. How fortuitous."
Why is that?
Well, the presence of the elemental touch often indicate a convergence of. It's theologically somewhat complicated, but this is a time of wind. Swords is ascendant, a time of action, of decisiveness. The presence of a genasi of her type is a positive omen.
I think so too. Now, if you could just convince these other three that she is, or at least two of them.
Berg gave you like a look like.
Shall we be on our way?
I suppose so. Your name was Mujana? How?
Majala.
Her name, yeah,
Ujala.
her name is Ujala.
Ujala.
Uja. Okay.
Yeah, Ujala.
Okay. Yeah, I say that in character. Like, it was Ujala, was it?
Yes.
How many of these?
Technically Sergeant Ujala, but please, Ujala will do.
Fair enough. And how many of these have you been on, Sergeant? With that rank, I would assume you've been on many diplomatic missions before.
Not technically, no. I was liaison to the Temple of the Chariot for some time, but most of my work is scholarly in nature.
You said the buzzword there.
Well, what is it that you're coming with us for exactly? Will you speak for the immortals? Is that the goal?
None are able to speak for the immortals, but they themselves. I will be acting as representative to the Aharisa, representing our interests in diplomacy with the servants of the tower. I'm not sure I understand their wartime hierarchy, but I am fascinated to learn.
We should rehearse before we go in there and have a conversation, I don't want you to say something that would upset them. It has to be
Oh
perfect.
yes, any information that you can give me at all in advance would be very useful.
I point over towards the shield, which I would assume is still below the bed, Ramus. Unless
Yeah, there's like a bundle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just bundled up.
Yeah. I point over to that, and if it's not clear enough, I'll go over and like drag the cloth off to show the symbol. Say, well, you have a priest of the tower right here. By all means, ask away.
Yeah, and she looks at you, Ramus, and she says, "Is this true? Not a masquerade? You're not pretending. You follow the tower."
Both me and my orc companion here have served the tower for some time.
Then
But we are
why,
little-
if-
Yep.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Dan.
But we aren't in any sort of leadership position, and we don't really know exactly what started all of this.
I have to ask you, why are you here and not fighting with the tower if you serve them as you say?
Because this war between the two factions is pointless when the greater enemy is out there. I believe, as some of the people here believe, that together you can destroy the Farang, who are the true enemy. But fighting only gives them an opportunity.
Fascinating. And this is not considered. We should talk as we go. We're running out of time.
Agreed.
Yes, we should be on our way.
Okay. Right. So yeah, I think we fade out on the group of you gathering your bags, getting your stuff ready, and then preparing to head back out into the city with Maud and Ujala in tow.
But before we head out,
Sanctum ahead of you.
I pull Berg to the side, and I'm like, Berg, I know you want to protect this child, but I need to remind you of something. Gideon, Wester, Janus, Swaz, Azriel, Jubilant, Enoch, Azure, and even me. People that travel with you do not end up in good places. Are you sure you want her with us?
Remus, I'm not sure of anything. I don't know where else I can send her. What is worse, leave her with strangers that might harm her, make her life horrible, die from those fighting in the street, or give her a chance to survive and have our protection. Do you know what's better?
I can't tell you that, Berg. But all I know is that she's not going to be safe with us, because we run into danger a lot. And I don't know if we can protect her, or even if we leave her with someone else, if they can protect her. But I warn you, if it comes to saving my life or hers, I will choose myself. I will try to protect her if I can. But I warn you, she's going to be in harm's way with us.
I know. If we have to go fight, I don't know that I will bring her with. Just know that.
I just
I'm
don't want
aware.
to see you hurt again. I remember how you were after Azure. You were never quite the same.
Cool.
I hear you, Remus.
Yeah, and I think that moment's real good because it's like we have this forward momentum for everybody else, but Ramus is like, "Yo, dude, this is bad for everybody. Be careful." Yeah, and then the two of you go to catch up with the rest of the group, and I guess we'll take a break there.
Yeah, that works.
Sick.
All right, we'll take our break. We'll be back in about 5 or 6 minutes here on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll see you in a couple days. We'll be right back, though, with more Core Swords right after this. See you then.